Thanks. I have a question about the Houthi sanctions, but it's largely semantic, so I'll leave it till later. On Nord Stream 2, you guys have been saying for months, indeed for over a year, since the waivers were first granted, that in fact this gave you additional leverage, withholding the sanctions did, and would serve as a deterrent. Clearly, it didn't. They didn't provide you with any leverage at all that we can tell, because of what you just said in your opening statement about the invasion beginning. So, how do you explain to people why you didn't impose these sanctions earlier?
So, Matt, it's important, and let's just rewind the tape and remember what has happened in recent hours. Yesterday, within a short time frame of the Russian invasion beginning, Germany took decisive, resolute action to take Nord Stream 2 off the table. Today, we followed with our own complementary authorities, using the powers and capabilities that we have. We have always said, in the context of Nord Stream 2, in the context of the steps that we are taking with partners and allies around the world, that one of the most important tools we have in our arsenal is transatlantic unity. The fact that Germany acted so quickly, so decisively, is in many ways a product of the coordination, of the consultation we have done now with two successive German governments. Of course, it started with Chancellor Merkel and her government, and in more recent months we have had concerted discussions with Chancellor Scholz and his government. The fact that we are acting in unison immediately to take these steps that essentially remove Nord Stream 2 from the equation, that is a byproduct, that is a result of the work that we have done together with the German government over the course of these last several months, over the course of the last year or so.
So it sounds to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that your argument is that if you had imposed the sanctions earlier, the Germans wouldn't have the Germans wouldn't have done what they did yesterday, or it would have been a much bigger lift to get them to do that.
What we have said in our strategy has been predicated on the knowledge that transatlantic unity is the most powerful instrument we have.
But look, the pipeline's already been built. Okay. Now, whether it gets turned on or not, is another question.
Right. So
presumably you had more leverage, and I don't understand why you don't think that you would have had more leverage if these sanctions had been imposed before the pipeline was finished.
So, Matt, you also raise a good point. The pipeline, when this administration came into office, was more than 90% complete. We have imposed sanctions under PISA on a number of targets associated with this pipeline, persons and entities. But the fact is that had we sanctioned Nord Stream 2 AG, had we sanctioned its corporate office holders, it is far from clear that that would have kept the pipeline from going into operation. What the Germans did yesterday was to ensure that the pipeline is no longer part of the equation. Right. So by acting together with the Germans, how we did, when we did, and the way in which we did, we have ensured that this is an $11 billion prize investment that is now a hunk of steel sitting at the bottom of the sea.
All right. Well, I don't think you can prove, and the converse can't be proven either. But you just don't know if imposing the sanctions earlier would have had more of a deterrent effect, or any deterrent
well,
effect.
If we would have made it a sunk cost many months ago for the Russian Federation, I don't think that would have had much deterrent capability.
Well, but it hasn't anyway. So I'll leave it there.